Welcome to Flourish, the podcast for faith-driven mompreneurs who are ready to release overwhelm, create sustainable, healthy habits, and build purpose-driven businesses aligned with their faith, family, and vision. I'm Stephanie Book, a transformational mindset, wellness, and business coach. I'm here to equip you with the tools, mindset shifts, and encouragement to help you flourish. If you're ready to grow a thriving life and business while staying aligned with your faith, purpose, and priorities, you're in the right place. You are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life. Success isn't just possible, it's meant for you. Let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome to the Flourish Podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I'm so glad that you are here. I am excited because this week is my Clarity to Confidence webinar. I've never done a webinar before, and this Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time is my webinar. Now, this podcast won't be just about the webinar, but I do want to talk about it because I'm excited about it. I will be honest, this is my second round because I did my entire podcast. I loved what I shared, and my microphone was not on. It was on. It said it was on, but it was not connected for some reason, and so nothing that I said. So I'm really, really bummed because I had some good things to share, and I don't have notes today. So I'm going to try to really share what's on my heart again, and I hope that it will come across as good, and maybe it'll be even better. Maybe I am sharing the things that I'm supposed to share with you now instead of that first episode because I'm really, really bummed. And my husband is mowing the lawn, and so I'm going to try to take out that noise, but I don't want to wait another half an hour to do this, so we're going to step in and we're going to do it anyways. And so I hope that this message will be helpful to you. And so whether you are a business owner or you are a mom that is just listening to me, or you have just found me for the first time, I hope that this episode will be encouraging to you. And we're going to talk a little bit about clarity and why I'm so excited about my webinar, but we're going to talk about a lot of other things as well. And so I invite you just to join me in this episode. And I really hope that it will be encouraging to you and might be one that you will even want to listen to it again. So we'll say all that. Let's dive in and let's learn together. So this week, like I mentioned, I have my very first webinar. It's called Clarity to Confidence. I have been talking a little bit about the webinar, but mostly about my Growth Vault. I created the Growth Vault. I talked all about what was inside it in one of my Flourish TVs. So if you haven't seen that or you want to see that, let me know and I can get you the replay for that. I kind of walk you through, or better yet, just put growth in the comments and I will send it to you. It's easy. You just fill out your name, email, and I will send you the whole entire Trello board full of all kinds of information. And then you have the opportunity as well to join me at the Clarity to Confidence webinar on Thursday evening. And so that will also be recorded. If you can't join me live, you will get a recording if you register, and it will be on my Zoom. It's not going to be live on Facebook. At least I don't think so. I haven't figured that out yet. So it will be on the Zoom room. And so I would love for you to join me there so that you can have that time with me. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about why clarity is important. And one of the things that I really found was important about understanding clarity is understanding who we serve, how we serve, why we serve them, and so many more things. And I don't want you to look at this as just a business thing, but really an overall encompassing part of our life, right? So we as Christ followers, the people that are following the Lord, He has given each of us a purpose, a way that we can step in and use the gifts and abilities that He's given us to go out and serve others. We know ultimately that we are wanting to love the Lord and we're wanting to help others come to know Him. We know that that's this ultimate mission. We want to be able to spread His word, spread His love, and help them have that relationship with the Lord. So we know that. But then He also gives us gifts and abilities, ways that we can serve and help other people and step in and share the things that we have learned along the way with other people. And so that is what I want to help you do. Now, the Clarity to Confidence webinar, I have it geared towards business, but the more that I was thinking about it, the more it is really a message to help a lot of people, because every single one of us has a story to share. We have something that we've walked through in our lives, and we've learned some different things through our journey. And so we want to be able to share that with other people. So that clarity to confidence is being able to help you clarify who that message is for. Who can you share this with? Whether you are someone that is in ministry, maybe you need to understand your students better or the kids better. What do your kids really need that you're working with in your your student ministry or your kids ministry at church, or maybe the women at your church really have specific needs and you want to understand them. Maybe you are someone that just works at a I don't know, like a factory or something, and you have coworkers. What are the different things that you can share that you've learned along the way that might help them? Is there a mom that you work with that really could use some ways that a system or meal prep and different things that really help them? So we can do all kinds of the gamut of different ways that we can look at ways that we can step in and serve and help in other people. So it doesn't need to just be business. Now the Growth Vault it's geared towards business, but the more that I think about it, honestly, who we serve, how we serve, why we serve them, that really falls into place with a lot of different things in our life. It doesn't need to just be who we're growing to serve in our business. But I think it is a lot geared toward that, but it doesn't have to be. And so I think that came into the realization as I was walking through that the last episode that I didn't have any sound. I realized that how broad that actually can be. But I would say most of my message is for those that are in business, that are, maybe you have been in business for a while. Maybe you have a product or a service that you care a lot about, but you're not reaching the people that you want to reach. So that's my hope, is to help you understand exactly who you are connecting with so that you can serve them better, so that you can have an action plan on ways to step in and understand, have that clarity, understand your why, and then understand why that matters. And so that is what I hope to do with you at that webinar. And the Growth Vault is a great step. So it gives you all the tools that you need and a bunch of questions and different things. And then there are some business side things in there as well that will help you be able to know how to start sharing the things that you're learning as you understand your audience. So I went through quite a journey of figuring out the clarity of who I wanted to talk to. And if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you've probably heard the shift and change a little bit of my message. And I think that's important because as I'm learning and growing, as I'm stepping into who God wants me to be, I'm learning more about who I can serve and why I serve them. And really it's a her, because I have a picture in my mind exactly who I talk to when I'm talking on these podcasts. And so I know exactly who it is that might need what I'm sharing, because I was that girl. And you have heard me so many times say this quote: "You are most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were." That's Rory Vaden. And it is just so true. The day that I heard that, I've talked about this story before, so I'm not going to go into it now, but I knew that that was what God wanted me to do, to step in and share with other people what is important to me and what I have learned to help them along the way. And so recently, Rory Vaden and his wife AJ, they just came out with a book, Wealthy and Well Known, and I was able to listen to an advanced copy. It was really cool. It was read by an AI voice, but it sounded like them. It was insane. But it was so good. And now I have the physical copy, and now anybody can listen to it. So if you want to go a little bit step further, you want to know what I'm even talking about an audience, that's a great start. If you are, but of course I would love for you to join me in the webinar. I'm going to keep it pretty basic, but that really goes extensive. And if you really want to build in your business, that's another great resource, because I think it's important for us to take all kinds of different resources so that we can really hone in and get the perfect message, not the perfect, but the right message for the right people that we're talking to. Anyway, so I'll put that in the show notes so that you can check out that book. It's really, really good. And there's a whole bunch of resources, a resource page that you can go to help you walk through that stuff too. So anyway, but I'll put the link in the show notes for that. But as I was going through this book and listening to it, and I've been working on who my audience is and having that clarity, I made the Growth Vault so that I could help other people go through that process that I was going through, and going through the questions and things that I know would help anybody trying to figure out who their audience is and how you want to help them. And that's why I put the Growth Vault together. But I I have shifted and changed and spent a lot of time in prayer and really seeking who it is that I wanted to share with, who I wanted to talk to, what have I learned and how can I help other people. And I feel like recently I kind of shifted and changed a little bit more, but every time I ask those questions, every time I hone in a little bit more and get that little bit more clarity, there's more confidence for me to share, but then it's also it makes the message more powerful and more reachable because it's reaching the right people at the right time. As long as I can remember, I have always wanted to be some type of an entrepreneur. I remember even as a kid, I would play store in the yard, and I would set up when it was like the wood shed that my dad had, and in the summer, like the wood was gone because we'd used it all winter, for fuel into the fireplace and the wood stove, what we had, but I would set up a table and I would have a store. Or I would go down to the plaid pantry. I had to take a second to remember, oh my goodness, like a blast from the past, but I'd ride my bike down there. I would go buy like Starburst or Now and Laters, and then I would split them all up, and then I would lay them on the table, and then I would sell them to the neighborhood kids. So I've always had the entrepreneur heart. I've always wanted to step in and do things that brought in money, or that I was a boss, or I was doing some type of business. I did all the lemonade stands and things like that. And I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. And I've done all different kinds of home-based businesses. And then when I stepped into my own health journey, that's when I really stepped into my health coaching. And that has been the biggest impact and change in my life. And so much of my growth has happened because I was opened up to personal development and personal growth and understanding that the mind is the part that needs to be fixed. And when we get this part fixed, then the other things will flow. And so over the last year or so, I've had a lot of up and downs with my health. I've gained a little bit of my weight back, and I've been just really confused about a little bit of my message. And so this is another reason why clarity has been so important to me, because I felt like I was confusing a lot of people. If you've been listening to this podcast long enough, you know that I've made all kinds of shifts and changes on what I share about on here. Now, it's always still centered around the Lord and serving Him and stepping into the purpose that He has for us. But the message has shifted a little bit. The audience has shifted a little bit as I've really understood who it is that I'm supposed to serve. And so I really struggled a lot with this because I felt like maybe I was out of integrity because I wasn't like this perfect coach that was like the perfect size and did everything right. When I first stepped into my health journey, I did everything by the book. I was following all the rules and doing all of the things. And so it was very easy to share. And I wanted to shout from the rooftops. And I know that's cliche, but I just wanted to let everybody know how amazing this is and how great it felt. And I remember thinking that, and somewhere along the way, I kind of lost some of that. And so some of that has been played in my mind as I didn't have that same passion about what I was sharing about. Part of it was just feeling out of integrity or feeling like I wasn't good enough. Immediately, I went into those limiting beliefs and thinking that I needed to be a certain way in order to make an impact or make a change or help somebody else make a change. And then it dawned on me that is just a bunch of lies that I'm letting the enemy speak over me. Because I have learned so much over my last 7.5 years of my health journey and the last over 7 years of coaching. I have been through a gamut of different situations that have seen growth and change in my mindset and in my body. And so though I am heavier than I was before, I'm also stronger than I've ever been before. And so some of that scale weight is muscle, and some of it is making wrong choices, and some of it is hormone changes, and some of it is all those different things. And so I share all of that with you because I think that there's a point in our lives where there are things that we are learning, things that we are growing through that can help somebody else. So I was at a party just the other day, and I was talking to a friend, and we were talking about just life because she was from out of town and she was visiting. And she shared just a little bit about how she found herself just not wanting to be out a lot, like just not minding being by herself, and her and her husband just doing things on their own, not real sociable. And she's always been a pretty social person. And so she mentioned that that is actually a sign of the perimenopause. And I thought that was very interesting. That is something that I learned from her that I didn't know. Because I remember probably about a year and a half ago, I kind of was like that way, maybe just even a year ago. I was going through a lot of different things, a lot of changes in our household, and my business was changing. A lot of things were changing, and I honestly just didn't want to go many places. I was happy just to be home. I was happy just to like stay in. And I didn't even want to go to church. I felt like, I could go there, but why bother? Like, not that I didn't think it was good for me, but I just felt like I just wanted to be alone. And now I learned from her that it could be a symptom of perimenopause. And I just thought it was like my bloating or the night sweats or whatever, right? All those crazy things that us ladies need to go through as we get to that age. And I thought, how interesting it was that she shared that just that little bit, and it gave me some clarity right away. I was like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense why I felt that way, because it didn't make sense in the scope of who I was. Now, I'm not a huge people person. If you're with me in a crowd, I'm very kind, I'm quiet. I don't usually say a whole lot of things, but I am enjoying my time there, and I'm usually engaged. I just don't say a whole lot. But I really had those points where I didn't really want to go anywhere. I just was fine just being by myself. And that makes sense why I would feel that way. It was an awkward stage. And so I thought that was really cool that she shared that little bit with me and what an impact it made for me and my life, and looking back and saying, oh, that gave me some new information. I understood something. And so thinking of clarity, looking at the way how important it is to understand who we're talking to and what the pain points are, that made so much sense to me. Because whether you're looking to serve in a ministry better, or you're wanting just to show up as a better coworker, or maybe you want to serve your kids better, or maybe the ministry, like I said, the ladies that you're working with, or the business that you are growing, and maybe you have a great product, but maybe you really need to know how this product helps them. Why do they have the problems that they have? It's not about the product, it's about the person and their needs and what they need from you. People buy you, they don't buy your product. And I know that seems crazy, but I think it's really true. I think that people want to trust you, but they also want to know that you're going to bring them value. That what's the difference between going to you for a lipstick versus just stopping at a department store and grabbing lipstick, right? They're both lipstick. Maybe both of these are made really well. Like if you looked at the ingredients and the process might be the same, why would they buy from you and not the department store? Because they want to be, they're seen, they're valued. And so that's what clarity makes a difference. And so whether it is a business or a ministry, or maybe you're a mom and you just want to be better mom to your kids, or you want to show up for your spouse better, maybe understanding what their needs are, having that clarity can make a difference. So though this Clarity to Confidence webinar is, kind of geared towards business, maybe there are questions there that are good for you to answer so you can step in and serve a little bit more. Maybe you can expand who you are becoming and share with other people, the right people who need to hear your message. So I hope that makes a lot of sense, because it just kind of dawned on me today, like, wow, what a difference even the clarity in just our day-to-day life, and how much difference it can make in somebody else's life. If I really truly take you are most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were, that works whether it's business or in life, right? We've all been little kids. We all can remember what it felt like when we didn't get our way. We remember when we didn't do well on a test and we had studied for it. Remember when kids picked on us and we felt just terrible. We know when we walked into a room excited about something and then we got torn down. Remember when we've had an idea but nobody wanted to listen or nobody heard us. We've all been there. And so what are the things that you've learned, you've gained from, that you could use to help somebody else and serve somebody else? And so I said all that. I brought up even my health journey, and it probably made more sense the first time I talked about it in the first run of this episode. But I feel like I am understanding a little bit better. Now I have even more that I can share and I can serve in my wellness journey, because I can raise my hand and say, no, I'm not perfect. I have gained a little bit of weight back. But what I have gained through all this is I identify those negative thoughts that are going in my mind. I can understand how much better I am than I could have been, because I'm drinking my water, because I'm making mindful choices. Even if I make choices that aren't serving me perfectly, I'm aware of those, but I'm not holding the guilt and shame about those choices that I'm making. And so there are so many things that we can learn and we can grow from, and then we can pass it on and serve to others. And so I hope that this challenges you to maybe look from a different view. What are the things that you are learning and growing from? What are the ways that you can now step into action and serve those people because of the lessons that you've learned, because of the changes that you've made? What could become of that if you took some time to have that clarity and really ask yourself the questions that you need to ask to know that what could make a difference? So recently I've been listening to The High Five Habit by Mel Robbins. I'm a little bit late on the train for that book. The Let Them Theory, that was her most recent book, and that was really, really good as well. But I was listening to it. I remember when The High Five Habit came out and everybody was talking about it, and they talk about her 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. She has a lot of great motivational speeches or things that help you move towards moving to that next step and creating some action in your lives. And I've been really enjoying the book. I was taking my bike ride today and I was listening more to that book. And so I didn't write down everything so I'll need to go back and listen to it. But she was sharing a little bit about being people pleasers. And I don't know about you, but I've definitely been one of those people that is that people pleaser, always kind of bending what I want to serve other people. But she was talking about people pleasing and talking about the different things that we will do as a people pleaser, as an overthinker. And I'm not going to be able to quote this right, because I a lot of times I need to go back and hear things more than one time. And if I'm not able to write it down, sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other. But I know that this chapter was really good and it spoke a lot to me. And I identified a lot with the things that she was saying. And she was sharing a story about a pool table that her father had made for her and her husband when they got married, and he refurbishes old ones, and it sounded like it was a beautiful gift. First gave it to them, but they didn't have room in their starter house, so they stored it at her parents' house. And then over time, then they had another house. They decided to build a game room, and the dad's like, yay, you can put this pool table in there. And of course it took up a good space of this game room. Well, eventually they didn't need the game room anymore, and it turned into her office. But the pool table was still there. It wasn't really being used, but it was there because it was a gift that was given to her, and she wanted to please her father and her mom. So she kept that in there. So over time, her business started growing, and she had people coming work for her. She could use the space for her office, but instead she had them working in other places in her home because the pool table was there. And over time, she came to to recognize that she really needed to have this pool table removed from the room. But she knew that it was going to be hard for her father. But she was trying to please him, so she kept it there for so many years. So eventually, she decided she needed to take some action and step in and do that scary phone call and say, hey, Dad, I'm going to have the same company come and take it all down and put it in safe storage until we have a space for it. Right now, I need this office space. And he gave her some solutions. And of course, she was able to stand her ground. Did it hurt her dad? Yes. Did it hurt her? Yes. Did it hurt her mom? Yes. Because those feelings were hurt. But she also had to choose what was best for her, what was going to be best for her workspace, for her business to grow. And I think that was a good representation of how we sometimes can let that people pleasing go on and we're not making the right choice or making the steps that we need to move forward. And I'm not sure exactly how this all fits, but I thought it was just impactful to me. And it actually made me tear up when she was telling the story, because I could feel what she was feeling when she had to have that conversation with her dad. And I could feel how her father felt when he felt like she wasn't grateful or didn't want to use this gift that he put so much time and effort in to give to her. And then her mom's reaction as other things came up, and you could tell that there was hurt and there's pain, and there's still probably hurt that's there. But it was also something that needed to be done, a step that she needed to take forward to be able to make the space for her business to grow, to step into the things that she needed to do. It just made me think a little bit about how often we will set aside things that are best for us, or the steps that we need to take forward, because we're worried about what other people might be thinking or how they might react. And we want to please these people. We want to do the things that make us, we think, make us look better. But honestly, when we're not showing up authentically, if we're not doing the things that we need to do in order to move ourselves forward, if we're not taking those action steps because we're worried about what somebody else is going to think, we might be blocking the opportunity to help somebody that we're supposed to help. So it loosely kind of goes together. I don't know. I think it went together better the last episode when I did number 1. But I think that it was a really good lesson. And again, the book explains it a lot better, and she had some really good principles in there. So you can check out that book if you haven't read it yet. But I thought how it made me really think about how we value the things that we have to offer. I think that often we will try to hide our message under a bushel because we don't want to offend somebody, or we want to please everybody. We want to show up for everybody the way we think that they want us to show up. And a lot of times we'll hide our message. We'll hide the things that we want to do. We won't step into the things that God has called us to do because we want to please everybody else, or we don't want to ruffle any feathers, right? But I think that this message, it's kind of like you have a purpose, you have a passion. God has laid on your heart those things that you are meant to share with other people. And it's not right of us to hide that because of somebody else that might need it, somebody else that might be crying themselves to sleep because they need an answer to something that you've already figured out. And so as a business owner, as a mom, as a ministry worker, whoever it is that's listening to this, if there's something that you know that is on your heart that you could share that could help somebody else, maybe it's time to step in and take that action and not let that other worry, those self-doubts, that limiting beliefs, the worry of what other people might think, stop you from moving in towards what you are meant to do. I always close my podcast with, you are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life, right? And you are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life. God has equipped you with so many great things. Like He designed you exactly to be you. And you have a specific message. You have a specific offer that you can share with the people that you meet, the person that you are meant to serve, that person that was once like you that needs that encouragement. You can identify the best, I think, with the pain points that you've had yourself and the way that you've stepped over those and overcome maybe the feeling of not fitting in, or maybe the feeling of wanting to grow a business but not knowing the first steps, or maybe it's wanting to be at a healthier weight but just not understanding what the best workouts are for your body. I don't know what it is, but what are the things that you have learned along the way that are meant to help somebody else, right? You are positioned to serve, and God has equipped you with those things. And so we want to use those gifts, those abilities that He's given us to serve the people that are in front of us, whether it's in business or it's in your ministry or it's in your home or at your job. There's ways that you can serve other people. And so it's important to understand those that are around us so that we can step in and really help them. And then I say, success isn't just possible, it's meant for you. And I mean that. It's meant for you. God has designed you to step in and use the tools He has for you to be successful, to be able to step in and share the things that you've learned, step in and understand that the value you have is so amazing. So keep all of that in mind. So when I talk about all the different things that I share on this podcast, and I encourage you to live that full and flourishing life, when I encourage you to move towards success, success isn't just the dollars. Success is really making the impact that you have been designed to do, to be able to step in wherever you are, whether in business or a mom or industry or at work, or with your friendships, in your family, I don't know, but you have a purpose and you have amazing, unique abilities that God has given you to step in and use. And so it's time to show up. It's time to understand those skills and abilities and show up and be authentically you. Step in and serve those that are on your heart and understand who you're serving and why you're serving and how you can serve them so that you can really step into who God has really created you to be. So I hope this was helpful. I know I kind of went all over the place today, but I do think that it's important for us to understand how valuable the lessons that we have walked through can be and how much it can serve somebody else. How much one little change, like my friend sharing about feeling isolated and not wanting to be out with other people. And that could be a sign of something that's going on in your body that you have no control over. And I thought how helpful that information was. And that was just a conversation. Think about the impact you can make if you shared with a lot of people or you knew exactly who you were supposed to share that with. So friends, I do encourage you to take a step back and look and evaluate the different things that you're doing in your life. Look at the ways that you can serve other people and have that clarity. Find that way that you can, that person that you are meant to serve, and really hone in and ask yourself those questions. If you're completely confused about all this and you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about, Stephanie, just reach out. Send me an email. My links are always in the show notes. Send me a message on Instagram or put growth in the comments and I'll get you the Growth Vault. Put clarity in the comments and you can join us for the webinar. You can just follow me on my Flourish community. We can be part of a community there where you can be around other like-minded women who are wanting to really step in and really live out their full purpose and step into their business and their life and their ministry and really show up the way that God wants them to show up, wants you to show up. So friends, as always, you are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life. Success isn't just possible, it's meant for you. Take care. Thank you for joining me on Flourish. I hope today's episode left you feeling inspired and equipped to take your next step with confidence. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who needs this encouragement. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at steph.book and join our Facebook community of faith-driven women who are ready to flourish. Make sure to check out the show notes for all the ways we can connect and continue this journey of growth together. My friends, remember, you are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life. Success isn't just possible, it's meant for you. Take care.